Hey guys, how interesting. We've gone from being targeted and experimented on, humiliated, oppressed, mocking, or mockery, you know? And, but you remember that they've done that, they've done that to God, you know what I mean? Trying to mock God and trying to demean him and call him name and yeah, so to having people now in this situation I spoke about earlier telling me, oh yeah, they want a crown prince of Morocco to work for me. You're right. And you know what, I'm not gonna deal with no with snakes. Only the house of Abraham, you know what I mean? Nobody else. Not interested. You know what I mean? They always want to keep somebody. They want to keep somebody in the back, to pretend he's not irrelevant, but he's working against you, you know? And doing you wrong when you're unaware. Would you trust any of these people after what happened to us? These people made billions of dollars from our suffering. All of these people are investing. All these globalist, wicked ones. Anyhow, telling me, yeah, okay, why all of a sudden you want to give him a job? You want him to give him a job because you're, you know, trying to program me during my sleep and to accept what you want to give me, right? If I have rejected what you have given me in the past, what makes you think I'm on board now to accept, you know, this person working for me? And admin, literally, they told me, yeah, the king of Morocco, he used to work in admin, you know, and he started from the bottom all the way to the top, right? You need to be taught. You need to learn from the bottom and all the way to the top, right? Yeah. What make you think I want you to teach me anything? Okay. If actually what you teach is actually good for anyone, why would God want to get rid of you? Right? Because you're good. You're good at what you do, right? Why would God replace you? Why would God want to replace you? Because it's written in the stars, you have to get rid of you, you know? Because you're no good for nothing, you know? And that's what's kind of going on. And when God says, إنهم أشد عداوة لو كنت تعلمون. He says, you are, I don't know how to praise Adawa. What's Adawa in English? Someone his heart is not in the right place, who's evil and who would target people and who would do people wrong and stuff. So I don't know. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to. I don't know. Adawa is like when you target somebody and you do things just to be miserable, to be wicked. All right. And so yeah, that's what it means. Because God knows what's in your heart. He knows what's in their heart. That's why God said that. But I experienced that firsthand. I've been dealing with them for past a few years, since 2014, I've been dealing with them, lying about me and instigating stuff, trying to control my life, trying to play God. But little did they know, I don't report to them. All of this stuff you have done to me is temporary. It's not forever. Okay? And you gave me a kitchen work. You gave me the most hateful things. I experienced it. I felt it. Right? And I've been taught. I've been taught about your wickedness, what's in your heart, first hands. So God taught me about your, أشد عداوة لو كنتم تعلمون. So walking up the hill. So anyhow, God taught me about you. I experienced you for the past 2 years. Is it 12 years? Yeah. So I've experienced a lot of hate for 12 years. Yeah, but thank you guys for the offer. Trying to get a crown prince a job in my house. No, I don't think so. It's the only way it would happen if God says so. If God says so, I have no choice but to accept, right? But I don't want anybody in my house that I do not trust, God knows, God knows in your heart, And I'm pretty sure, I don't know what's in God's heart, but I'm pretty sure He aligns with me, Keep your snitches and snakes away from the house of Abraham, okay? We don't want anybody you're gonna throw back or you're gonna leave behind to report to you, okay? That's what you want to do. Because of that never happened in the past, right? And because it was always mocking and degrading and all of that. And now you're singing a different tune. You're singing a different tune, right? Why? Well, the end is near. Is that what it is? Your ending is coming to an end. You're trying to make amends with me. They're always targeting me what I say on YouTube or social media, TikTok, whatever, because they don't like what I'm saying, right? If what I'm saying is not based on a truth or have no foundation, if it has no foundation, it would not bother you, right? Because it hurts you in the core because it's true. Otherwise, you would not get bent out of shape, all warmed up about it, right? Because it's truth, the truth. You lied about 144,000 for a long time. And now you want to fess up. You want to talk to me like a normal person would, right? Pretending to interview me. What is it? He's not interviewing me. It's like trying to get somebody a job, right? No, the house of Abraham is not going to be manipulated. It's not going to be, think of it as like the cavity. Would you let somebody who's going to cause you a cavity in your teeth, into your tooth or your teeth, right? That cavity is going to get bigger and bigger. And so you have to get rid of what is going to cause you pain in the long run, Yeah. So, trust no one. And I don't care what they want. I stopped dealing with them. You know, I stopped dealing with them or accepting anything or trying to level with them the moment they started killing my family. They started hurting me, hurting my family. And I stopped. I stopped responding to their, you know, oppression. I kept chipping away. You know what? What's the point? I'm thinking something here. What's the point from all these attacks? You think you're by oppressing people are gonna budge? People just gonna get in their knees and give you what you want? You know what? You got it wrong. So anyhow, and that is not gonna. It's not gonna go away. For what you are doing to people is wrong, and rest assured, judgment is gonna fall on your head whether you like it or not. Okay? Do not try to make amends with me. I'm not in a mood to make amends with nobody. I don't want to deal with you. But what's coming is not gonna cannot be stopped. You should look up the prophecy of the 144,000 people who are working for you. They think people who are working for you, they think they're gonna just disappear. Yeah, you think you're just gonna get away, right? With murder, you know? You think you're just gonna be able to run and hide because, yeah, you do people wrong and just run and hide, and that makes it okay, right? So, yeah, you got another thing coming if you think that's how the game is gonna end, you know? You know? So, don't get your hopes up. Do not get your hopes up and do not try to level with me. I'm not in a mood to level with you, deal with you, or whatnot. We're beyond that. We surpassed that for billion light years, because you don't give people the respect they deserve. You don't expect people to look you in the eye and say, oh, yeah, everything is okay. Everything is kosher. And, yeah, that's not gonna how it is gonna end. Okay, but thank you guys for the offer. You continue telling me stuff in a dream and trying to control me and this is the first time you asked me to hire somebody. Snitch at a snitch in the house of Abraham. No, house of Abraham are loyal to themselves and still honest. They are loyal to God. They're not loyal to no snakes. You know what I mean? We're not gonna allow snakes coming in and ruin the bunch, Keep them out of bay, out of sight, out of mind. We don't need you in the house of Abraham, okay? Because we trust each other. We're not gonna allow a snake to come in here and ruin everything, right? And yeah, I get you. I've learned. I have experience. You hate. أشد عداوة لو كنتم تعلمون. That what God says. God says, they are wicked in the heart if we knew, right? If you only knew these people, their heart is not in the right place, right? Why would God say that? Because he knows what's in your heart. Is you're always serving your forefather Satan because he loved to deceive. You cannot be something that is not embedded in your DNA. Okay, it might sound harsh and unreasonable or whatnot, or maybe hurtful or whatnot, but this is the truth, right? You want me to sugarcoat it and tell you something very sweet and collective and just say, like, oh yeah, you're nicest person in the entire universe. You are the kindest person, right? You have no, not even a single wicked bone in your body, right? You're just the greatest person. You are you know, you are the best or something like that. You want something like that. That's not gonna come from me because I know what you are. I've been taught about you're wicked, because every time God is telling me something, is being uncovering things and telling me what you've done. The more you leave a bitter taste in my mouth, because it's like you've done too much. God taught me through these experiences. You cannot overpunish a person. You cannot, for example, for a crime, you have to, the outcome of that crime should be reasonable, cannot be overbearing or too much. You understand? It should be fit the crime. You know what I'm saying? I've been taught that, and you have punished 144,000, and you are being nothing but overbearing, wicked, and hurtful. I don't know what to describe, but just, you know what you are. I'm not gonna sit here, think of words to describe what you are, right? You know what you are, okay? So if you think you're a nice person, then you are a nice person in your head, But I disagree. 2 billion light years, you know, to whatever. And I know what you are deep in your heart. You have no loyalty to nobody but to yourself. It's all about greed, self-serving, and putting yourself above all. You understand? That's what you are. Okay? And you got these people fooled by all these lies you spun out of thin air. But I know you deep in the core. You can never lie to me, because you've done a lot of lying to everybody. But you want to deceive everybody, telling them, we're criminals with this and with that. We've done something, whatever, because you know how to spin lies. You know how to spin lies, and you manipulated all these holy books. The good thing is the Holy Quran is the only copy is been not altered, it's been protected by God, because God, he says, وَإِنَّا نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ لَحَافِظُونَ. That means we sent the Holy Quran, and we are protecting it. That's what it means. Okay? And that what it means, and you've manipulated other books, the other three books, because you kept altering, mistranslation, and removing book, adding books. But Holy Quran, you couldn't do that, because God protected the book against your manipulation. Okay? But anybody who does that, I mean, you don't need to worry about me, what I say on YouTube or TikTok or other social media. Do not focus on that. You guys, I'm going to tell you something. Do not focus about what people say in social media. Worry about what's coming. That's the least of your worries. That way you need to kind of, worry about what's coming, because what you've done to us, to humanity, it's been a long time. You manipulated our water, food and air, and it kept getting people sick through all these chemicals you put in food and air, and all of that. And you started this education system to brainwash everybody to believe you're in your lies. And meanwhile, all of you guys sitting on top, you have not worked an honest day in your life. You have not worked an honest day in your life ever. You know, all has been, all your inheritance is being passed down from your forefathers and stuff, and you made sure nobody else make money. You're the only one who continue from generation to generation to make money, right? I went through your education system, through your BS, and this has not been taught in the education system. But, I'm self-taught. I don't have to follow what education system's saying. I can decipher truth from lies. Okay? Yeah. And the verse I posted earlier about God saying is not, in a nutshell, God is saying it's not about forgiveness, it's not about all of that. God is not going to forgive you. So I'm going to repost it in the comment section for you guys. God is stating in Surah Al Baqarah, I think Surah Al Baqarah, yeah, I can't remember which surah, but anyhow, I'll post it in the comment section. And that's what God was saying when I read this earlier. I saw the number, I looked it up, and that's what God is talking about. Like he said, it's not, God is not going to forgive you regardless. So me forgiving you is not going to do it's not going to do you any good. You know what I mean? Worry about what God is going to do to you. You know what I mean? Do not worry about this, okay? But the angelic legions, the warriors of light are coming. And you better get ready, buckle up. It's not going to be fun.